comes down to like delegating and being able to hire not only VAs but people that do showings for you. How did you initiate it, all of this? How was that like the hardest part for you, being able to not only have the business but being able to perform with your clients?
Um, well, I mean, I haven't necessarily had to hire people underneath me to do showings yet. I'm moving into that, as we speak. But if I have, it's mainly just about scheduling. Like if I have clients that are in escrow that are doing something that requires me to be there, um, that's the only reason it should take away from your other showings. Um, if that's what you're talking about. If there's a showing out there that I need to go to and it's on the same day as another client, um, then it's a matter of, who's going to be the most moving forward out of the two.
Right.
And then I
So
call the one
watch.
that's probably not going to move forward and see if I can reschedule, even if
So
it's
Jay,
just a late an hour.
Jonathan, that's exactly what we're talking about, Gabriela. That Jonathan, in the first stage of your business growth, right? So
Hmm.
you're now in the second stage of your business growth. The first stage of your business growth was, can I do this at scale? Right? Can I succeed with Andy's model? Clearly, yes. Now you're going to, can I now scale that so that other people get involved in it and I start to ink myself? But you've started that as well. So, Gabriela, to answer your question, what Jonathan has done is he's segmented his business into the items that require uniquely his skills and the items that don't require uniquely his skills, but they're standard operating procedures. So he has VAs doing a lot of his nurture, follow up, lead origination, and so on. Now you come to the third level, which is the tricky level. And this is where, well, it's all tricky. This is where most agents, John, just have a job, really, because it
Mhm.
dies with them, right? A job is something that dies with you, right? You're not there, you don't have a job, you don't get paid. And that is, you just iterated it. Gosh, Andy, so I've done phase one, I've done phase two. Now I have to make a choice. I've got a power office open house set up, but a lead comes in. Do I show the lead or do I do the power office open house? Or even worse, I've got two leads that come in at the same time. Which one is the most likely? And I drop the other. So now you've immediately capped your business. It's called business capping. It's not possible to grow that business further because your business is actually a sole proprietorship job. So now you
Correct.
have a choice, my dear brother. Either one, you remain the talented young man that you are, and you build a great job with some administrative support, or
Hmm.
you find mentors, not mentors. You find help me with the word. Sorry.
Mentees, right?
Yes, mentees.
Interns.
Huh?
Interns.
Interns. You find interns, my brother, and then you have
Yeah,
that intern.
badly.
Maybe that $1 million buyer that just came in from Tiffany. Yeah, it's a big risk. Maybe that listing lead that just came in. Yeah, you take that. But your intern goes out and does that second showing. Your intern does covers the opening the door for the physical inspection, the intern, et cetera, right? That's where you're coming to,
Yes.
Jonathan. So Gabriela, you're at a different stage. You know, you're learning just the very basics of the business, which that's down to you to learn those as rapidly as possible. Watch the videos, ask questions like you did of Jonathan. Um, but at this stage, Gabriela, you need to be at all those showings. You need to be there for those things because you have to learn through them. You have to learn, how does an escrow open? How does an escrow close? Then you create standard operating procedures, which you don't need to create because we've created them for you, right?
Right.
And then it's the VA to do that backup support. Then you've caught up with Jonathan. Now you're consistently putting 2 a month in escrow. Now you're up against that issue of, oh my gosh, I need interns. You know who's doing that right now, Gabriela, is Color. Color
Mhm.
is flipping it over. Is Color on with us today? I don't know. But she's flipped it over, Jonathan. She's doing the piece
Mm-hmm.
you're entering into first, not last.
First.
She's
That's
gathering all
smart.
kinds of people. She's gathering all kinds of people around her, but doesn't yet have the business to share with them. But they believe in her, so they're going to stay there. And now it's on her to take the leads from us to make sure everybody's fed. At the end of the day, you end up at
I
the same
just
destination. It's just what you start with first.
I just want to throw out one more thing for Gabriela. And you might already know this, and everybody else might know this, but when I first started taking leads from Andrew, um, I learned something really important about escrow. You don't need to be there for everything.
Exactly.
You're there for support. You can handle that with a phone call. You do not need to be there for everything. It is not, you don't need to be every waking moment focused on it. You need to be out there getting new business. You need to be focusing on the next thing. If you have to go to the home inspection, great. But I was taught by Andrew, if you don't have to go, don't.
Yeah.
Like I opened an escrow in San Diego. I couldn't make it. My client couldn't make it. We still had a home inspection. The house is
Okay.
still there. It's still standing.
Exactly.
You know
Yeah,
what
Right.
I mean? Like,
Johnny,
and I picked up new clients.
Right.
To that point, brother, as well. Um, with Zoom so accepted in our society now, you just talk to the home inspector and say, "Do you do Zoom?" And if he's an old guy like me who goes, "Oh no, I don't use Zooms," just fire him. Find a guy who's younger, and just Zoom when you're there. And if your client shows, dude, you Zoom them and talk to them, talk to him. I make it very clear to my clients, I am not a contractor. I'm not a qualified home inspector. If I identify anything, I will in the showing. Um, Same thing with your escrow instructions. You sit down, you open it up, and I have people screenshot escrow instructions. I don't understand this paragraph. I don't understand that paragraph. And I could be at dinner with my wife and I solve an issue on paragraph 16, subsection 4 on a screenshot.
Hmm.
It's because we're motivated on the Win team to develop real estate businesses, not a real estate job. Gabby, you've got a job. You don't show up to your hospital, you don't make money,
Right.
right?
Right.
So don't get the cart before the horse. You need to show up to these appointments, the showing appointments. You need to fill your funnel to build the probability of a business. And immediately as that starts, your mind is set towards this growth. I am building a business. I'm not just building, a second job, a side hustle. Right.
Exactly.
This all started, Gabby, from sorry guys, good morning. A little bit unusual this morning, but Jonathan started a really excellent discussion. Um, this all started with a really nice statement from Jonathan, and I've heard it a few times. I said, "How's it growing?" And he says, "I'm just learning this whole piece about building my personal business and building the team business, and I'm loyal to the team, and I need to do more power office open houses because I can build more personal business. But then a lead comes up, and I feel loyalty to the team, so I do the lead." And there was a distinction, and please interrupt me, Jonathan, if I get this wrong. There was a distinction in Jonathan's mind between the company business and his loyalty to the team. That's like over here. And my business, that's where I make more money. That's over here. And I was trying humbly to explain to Jonathan, I hear this quite a lot. Don't see this as an either or. And I gave the example of a jewelry business. So a lot of you don't. I love jewelry, by the way. My wife loves jewelry. I know a lot about diamonds and gemstones and so on. I just really enjoy it. I got lots of friends in the jewelry district, and they've taught me through the years what's good and what's not. Right? What's intrinsic value, what's more fleeting value, and so on. Anyway, bottom line, jewelry. You open a jewelry store. I thought about doing it in Temecula just because I wanted it close to me, but I don't have the time. You open a jewelry store, and most jewelry stores that open, about 90% of the inventory is consigned. Jewelry is moved around. It's really family owned businesses within certain cultures, and they move that jewelry around so that it's fresh in a new place. Every couple of months, it just disappears and more arrives. And jewelers talk about a new shipment and so on. And here's the point. You open your jewelry store, and let's say you like Jonathan, and he's kind of artistic, and he also makes his own jewelry. So
Agaraf.
the parallel is your personal business, right? So he also makes his own jewelry. But the fact is, he's got windows full of product that a consigner who really dominates the manufacturing of jewelry supplies to him. And he sees people coming in every day, buying that jewelry, buying that jewelry, buying that jewelry. But on the side, he thinks, gosh, I wish those people were buying my jewelry. I wish they were buying something that I crafted myself. He only has so much time to craft jewelry, so there's less inventory. It's his own brand, so it's not so well known, so less people come into his store. Now, over time, his personal jewelry, because he has the customers from consigners, his personal jewelry gets more exposure, more exposure, and more exposure. And he's able to make a decision. Here it comes. Do I take less consignment jewelry, or do I grow a business? Do I want to be an artisan with his own personal stuff that, right? Or do I say, I'm going to hire somebody now to handle that consignment business? When somebody comes in through the door to see that consignment jewelry, I've got somebody there that I've trained to sell that jewelry. And now I've got my own personal crafted jewelry. I'm going to go to that myself. And the next phase is I'll train somebody myself. So it's not an either or. We see Zillow as an asset of our corporation is called Andrew Warburton Inc. This one, okay? So we see Zillow as an asset. We see Realtor.com as an asset. We see other lead sources as an asset. They're an asset of the business, and we assign people time and money to build that asset. It's not an either or. We're just now in a place where we want to put more money and more effort into building the listing side of the business, and that becomes another asset. So I want to encourage you, don't see it as an either or. Think like a business person. On the Win team, that's what I'm hoping. This isn't just one more guy coaching how to do an open house. It's truly that you're learning how to build a business. Does this make sense to everybody?
It
Yeah.
does. It does. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions? John, did you want to add something else on it? Because we kind of hijacked our conversation here. You good?
No,
Thank you.
just I wanted to like touch on the escrow piece, and then you know, if you're not doing this full time, obviously um try to handle more than just one or two leads. Like if you have several and there's a lot of nurture, like really make a plan for that. You know, like if you don't have a VA and you don't have property alerts, like I was guilty of it when I first started. But I was very, very meticulous in going through every single lead, if it took a few hours. When I had no VAs, it was just me, just doing my thing. Like Andrew says, in your coffee shop, you're just hanging out with friends, or you know, you're with your significant other, whatever. You're picking up your kids at school, it doesn't matter. Like you have time to take like 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like fill out a bunch of property alerts, put a bunch of market snapshots, and then when you're at home, because you're going to have to be at a computer to do market reports, and they should see something from you like more than twice a week,
Okay.
right? Otherwise, think about it. Like think about it this way. In your phone, how many times do you get an email per day from one company, just one? Let's talk about
Yeah.
Amazon, right?
Yep. Yep.
Amazon pings my phone when I don't even open the app, right?
Yep.
They know my schedule. I get a ping every freaking, you know, you get what I'm saying, right? That should be you pinging my phone. Not, and maybe not as much because you're not selling me a product, you're selling me a
Mm-hmm.
house. But when I think of houses, I need a, just like Zillow, right? Zillow pings my phone, pings
100%.
your phone. How many times do you see that Z in the corner of your phone,
No
Yeah.
kidding.
right?
Several.
Well, they should see you instead of Zillow.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, if you think you're annoying somebody, then that's on you. That's your personal thing you got to get
Totally.
over.
Jonathan, everybody
But
on this
like,
call should sign up as a customer for Zillow and a customer for Realtor.com. Just try
yeah,
it.
Oh,
man,
I do. I have accounts, personal accounts, and
everybody does. Yeah.
yeah.
And they're on you morning, noon, and night, right, Gabriela?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So look, this is just, we got 9 minutes left. What I wanted to cover this week was this whole issue of, what am I doing in my business, which we call KPIs, right? So I actually built this out ready for today, and we'll do it tomorrow. I built out this document on KPIs, and the whole piece of how KPIs are your GPS to your future you. Does everybody know what KPIs are? Tell me what KPIs are, somebody.
Key performance indicators.
Right. So it's the whole concept, and we're going to cover this week. We'll make it a very powerful week. This week, we're going to talk about what Jonathan's talking about, which is KPIs. KPIs, key performance indicators, are your compass, your scoreboard. They show your commitment to results. Tell you, as soon as you ask a group of people who get together a real estate company, I've done this for 40 years. First group I got together was 40 years ago in Coldwell Banker. And everybody went, yeah, we're going to do it. Yeah, we're going to do it. And the minute you said, fine, show up with your chart, let's look at your chart, the number of people that showed up dropped by 70%, right? They just want the, yeah, we're going to do it, right? So,
Yeah.
it's just much easier to go buy a Red Bull. But if you really want a business, then you're going to have charts, key performance indicators. Every successful business in the world tracks their performance, and every winning team member owns their numbers. It's just the way it is. KPIs, we all want this future you, right? But KPIs are the GPS to get there. Last night, my wife and I went on a listing appointment at 6:30 in Pomona, and we live in Temecula. And Pomona, did not realize actually quite how far it was. And of course, Andy tried it on his own. But then we went, okay, probably the GPS is better because we ended up in north, not south. Eventually we got there, yeah. But your KPIs are the GPS of the future you. And here's the interesting thing. On Friday, I said, I tell you what, guys, we spent a week before last saying we need accountability. So let's do this. I'll send you out a simple chart that you can measure yourself and say, how many prospects do I have in my FUB? How many prospects do I have in my BOB? How many escrows do I have open in July that I opened before July 1st? How many escrows do I open in July? How many listings do I get in July? And how many appointments have I held in July? And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that filled it out. Isn't that interesting? And I shared it in this feed. Here it is. You all can see it, right? I don't know why it's not showing up here. Sorry, guys. Give me a second. Jonathan, help me. Why is it not showing up? There we go. All right.
There you
So
go.
right here. So I'm going to do this again because we're going to talk about KPIs all week long. I'm going to go here to share, and I'm going to copy this link. Anyone with the link can edit it. You see right there? I'm going to copy that link, and I'm going to come back to our feed. And
Andrew, I thought you had asked us to make a copy of that document to not fill out the original.
no, this one, my dear, you can go into because there's a line for your name. The one that you need to copy is the power tracker.
You
Okay?
did mention this one though, Andrew, for a copy.
Oh, I did. Then it's on me. Then it's on me. So no, it's no big deal. It's no big deal.
All right, I'll
Here
redo
it
it.
is. Can you all see it, my friends?
Yes.
All right. So great. So then it's on me. No big deal. So again, what's the idea here? I think we're all clear on the idea. If we're going to do this, we're going to get up at 6:30 in the morning. Well, I'm up anyway, but you get the point. Let's track it. And the baseline track is here. What are the main trackers that we have, guys? What are the main trackers that we've set up to run our business. I'll go into this in detail tomorrow, but to wrap this up, what are the main trackers that
Appointment
we
set,
have?
Power
appointment
tracker.
set,
Yeah.
offers
Well, I meant
out.
documents more, John, in terms
Oh,
of the documents.
Power
Power
tracker?
tracker.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
okay.
So this one, kids, so you see here, people are filling it out, which I love. Trust me, I love it. I'm not pretending I'm an expert at this. So I'm building these out for you amongst everything else that I'm doing. So sometimes I run out of time, forgive me. But in this one, you go to File, Copy, make a copy, and then keep your own. Otherwise, Janae's will overlap Jonathan's, Jonathan will overlap Lauren's. But like somebody here started theirs and they said their projected arrival declaration for this week was, I'm a tech-driven agent. I mean, I just love that. Somebody else here put one new listing, July listing. So people are making these declarations. This is really good. And you see here, look, this person's allocating time 6:30 to 7 to grow themselves. They're allocating time 6:30 to 7 for a power hour. So I need to let them know that's actually a power half hour, but I'm teasing, right? But the point is they're doing it. And they've put a preview in right here. They've put a power office open house. The preview, look here, they've got a preview and they're going to post the open house. So they're starting to build it out. So here you go to File, Copy, and you're going to build out your week starting today, right? So this is your granular tracker. You do this. This is KPIs that get you at that future you. The idea of this is that we said, look, Andy, if we're going to do this, we should be accountable to each other. Okay, so let's really look at it. What I was hoping to see today, and it's my bad, was how many prospects do you have in your FUB? How many prospects do you have in your BOB? And I wanted to get down immediately how to increase the number of prospects in your FUB. So when I say prospects in your FUB, the prospects in your BOB are people that you can sell in the next 90 days, 24 of them, right? The prospects in your FUB include a pipeline, not raw contacts. These are people you've made some sort of connection with who have replied back to you. They become now a prospect. Honestly, guys, honestly, guys, each of you should have a minimum of 100 in there. Absolute baseline, minimum
Andrew, I have
100.
a question, Gabriela. So
Yes,
this is going to be different than Bob, because in Bob, I only put people that I either have pre-approved
yes,
or like 30, 60, 90. So this is going to be more like to keep an eye on what we have in our pipeline that we're like,
yes,
that we have communication with,
yes.
whether, regardless of the stage they're in, right?
Yes. And I've never done this before, but you all said, Andy, we want more accountability. So this is really
mm,
just for us right here. It's not meant to be an enormously complicated document. I just want you to get up at the
Right.
beginning of each week and go, look, holy crap, it's July the 14th, and I don't have an escrow open in July.
mhm.
And look, it's because I've only got 12 prospects, right? Now, Richard's got 15, which is very good. He's only just started. So the next question is, how do I get that up? See, Jonathan just put in 200 right here, right? So the idea of this is for the win team that we can see each other. What is each other doing? So that when we see each other showing up every day, we know where we're at.
I like that.
You got it? So here's your power tracker for your daily actions. This is for the team accountability, so we know where each other is at, right? And this is the system and why it works. And I'll go into this tomorrow. Do you see I've done a whole thing on what KPIs are, how you need to approach them, what your positive self-talk needs to be to do them. So I'm going to launch into that tomorrow. All of this really, let me just go back to where I can see you guys. Yeah. All of this really, guys, comes down to this. If it's the piece that Jonathan said, if you're on the Warburton team or you've got your real estate license to get a job, to make enough money that you go, I've got my boat, I've got my car, I've got my expenses covered. That's great. You're going to learn a ton from the Win team. You're just going to get so much more out of it. If at the beginning, your mind is the way Jonathan thinks, your mind is, look, I'm smart enough to own a business. So businesses run on KPIs. People don't just show up Monday morning and go, okay, how many sandwiches can we sell? It's all structured. So my passion is to teach you guys how to run a business. And I'm really hoping that half of you a year from now have 2 or 3 interns each, have at least 1 VA each, half of you. Sylvia, my hope is that 6 to 12 months from now, you have minimum 2 a month going in escrow,
Yes.
minimum 1 VA, and minimum 2 interns that are working with you. Minimum.
Okay. I like that.
You see, that's a business. Do you see the difference?
Hmm.
And trust me, when people show up and go, what should we do? You suddenly realize, holy crap, I never wrote anything down. I just go out and work every day and get in my car. And now I've got to tell other people what to do. And it forces you to think differently. So I'm trying in a nice way to force you to think differently at ground zero.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Leslie, go ahead, love.
I need a VA now.
Well, then hire one. You go to
I
upwork.com.
did go to the Upwork
Mhm.
and I picked someone
Mhm.
and then they cancel my account because I think I put what is your business, and I mistakenly put EXP Realty. And then they wanted a whole bunch of documentation about
Mm.
the business, and then they canceled me.
Yeah, so yeah, that should not have happened. Go, first of all, I would say with a VA, and Jonathan can chime in here, don't hire one, interview 3. And you're going to end up with a human being, not an agency, and talk with that human being and say, look, these are the things I want you to do. Leslie, write down on a piece of paper today, type on a Word document what you want that VA to do precisely. That's the key. Precisely write down what you want them to do. Then go to Upwork or go to Fiverr. I'm sure there's somebody on here that could help you as well. And you'll have several people reply. When you get the replies in Upwork, 90% of it is agencies, and they're just trying to make a buck off selling somebody to you, but they're not going to do the work themselves. Find a VA who is the real person that you're speaking to, right? What does Mike say? Only hire a VA after you've done what you're instructed. Yeah. See, this is very good advice. You're hiring a VA to do exactly what you do, that you have clearly defined what they need to do. Create that absolute definition, Leslie. So if it's when I've got a new rental listing, I need it put in the MLS, and I needed this, and I needed that, and I need it, right? You list that precisely. It's got your logins there, the whole 9 yards, right? And then you're ready to hire that VA.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? And I'm not trying to single you out either, Leslie, and everybody else that's asking
That's
about
okay.
VAs.
Yeah.
This is a question for you as well. I had to ask myself this question. I know Andrew had to ask himself this question. And he probably asks himself this question all the time because we're all here. Uh, do you have like a training program for your VA? Because they're going to ask for that day one.
Okay.
And they're not going to know what to do. They're
100%.
not going to know any of the platforms you use. They're not going to
100%.
know your login. They're not going to know your cadence. They're not going to know anything. So if you don't have a training program for a employee, then they are going to, excuse me for saying this, they're going to milk you for all you have. You know, because like, think of it, like they want to get paid. And if
Yeah.
it's just like an employee at a big company, if you're not paying attention, if you're not doing KPIs like Andrew's saying, if you're not running your business, people will take advantage because you're
Yeah.
just leaving the door open.
Yeah, no,
So
I get that. And I just work a lot better when I have someone who is handling certain secretarial jobs for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
right,
I used to have one Gracie, who was just sat in my office every day, all day long, just handling all of the paperwork so that, making sure my appointments were on time, and so that all I did was show. And I can't remember now if I wrote the offers all the time or whether, I think I wrote the offers, but that's it. I didn't do anything else.
So just this conversation in itself is illustrating what I'm saying. We're not talking like real estate agents here. We're talking about like people who want to own a business. It's entirely different. And the net result is going to be entirely different. So this week we're going to look at KPIs. The reason I love KPIs so much is because I have very lofty goals. I always have my whole life. So would you agree that we all have goals here that are beyond where we're at? Would we all agree on that?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So then if
Definitely.
you don't reach it, you get discouraged. Then you go, well, maybe the win team isn't for me, or maybe this isn't for me, and maybe that. And we jump to all these different things. But actually, that's not the case. The case is we never created trackers. We never broke down future you into certain actions that if we took those every day, it made future you inevitable, right? I like the idea of predictable, inevitable income. How many of you like that idea?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Oh
All right.
yeah.
So how do you create predictable, inevitable income? You create income for a period of time. You measure exactly how you did it. You break it down into small pieces. Then you do those pieces every day so that you can do it again. That's KPIs. So the idea is, and I'll wrap up with this because we're at 7:07. So I'm working hard with Jonathan and training Jonathan, right? So at first, when we started, we're out there on the golf course trying to train his swing on the golf course. That's a huge mistake. It's like trying to learn how to make declarations and answer objections when you're meeting your first client. It's way too late. You're just going to screw up the client. So we now have this stupid saying. It's P equals P. So P is for par. So we do what's called par cards. I say, look, son, don't count your score. Just count how many pars you get on the front nine and the back nine. Because when you start to think pars, the holes that you don't do so well, because you're planning so strategically, your bad holes aren't so bad, and your good holes are even better. But how do you get a par? P equals P, par equals practice. So whatever you've practiced that week, whatever you've defined, whatever your KPIs are, however many times you hit that 5-iron, that 7-iron, that 9-iron, however many times you measured how close that was to the flag, that's exactly how good your game is going to be. However many times you show up at those power office open houses, however many times you do those power previews, however many times you practice those dialogues, that's how good you're going to be when you show up to your business. And that's key performance indicators. Par equals practice. And in our case, future you equals execution of KPIs. So this is a great way to start the week. We're almost halfway through the month. Tomorrow's halfway through the month. Remember the power calendar. You take stock tomorrow of exactly where you're at. And now it's Monday. So let's ramp it up. Let's fill out that document that I mistakenly said you should make a copy. Fill out that document. Make a copy of your power performance tracker. Run your business this week, right? And if you're newer, like Gabriela is, work like crazy to get 3 appointments minimum. Get them set for this week. That should be your bare baseline minimum. If you're further along like Jonathan, you're looking at your phase 3 now, which is the intern piece for him. Very important, right? So whichever stage you're at, we're here for you on the Win Team. Love you guys very much. Look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. And let's make this a powerful, powerful week in the middle of July. Okay. We've opened 17, 18 escrows so far. You're doing a fabulous job. Let's make sure that everybody on the Win Team has at least one escrow open this month. Okay, guys?
Thank you,
Okay.
Alex.
Okay.
Thank you.